9 portal transfers for the Tigers so far. So who's next and who's playing in the bowl game? Let's talk about it. Locked on LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts. Of course, on YouTube as well, so please subscribe. The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff presented by Allstate begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT and Max. LSU won't be in the college football playoff, but some players who might help them get there next year. We're talking about that. Braden Swinson playing in the bowl game. Who else is playing in the LSU bowl game? And former LSU wide receiver CJ Daniels has a new destination, surprising to some. We'll get into that here in just a smidge. But another day did not bring another commitment out of the portal for LSU, but we did learn of a few more visits that LSU is hosting. And maybe chief among them is a massive one, both figuratively and literally. So Sydir Mitchell is a 6'6", 350-pound interior defensive lineman. Some of y'all wanted interior linemen. Well, this dude qualifies. So as a high school prospect, he was a 3-star, the number 51 defensive lineman in the country, the number 5 player in the state of New Jersey, went to the University of Texas, just finished his second season at UT. In 2023, just 3 tackles. 2024, just 4 tackles. So a total of only 7 tackles. But make no mistake, Mitchell is not a guy that's there to be a super impactful, disruptive guy. He is a space eater. He is 6'6", 350, and his job is, hey, eat up blocks to free up other people to make hay. And that's pretty much what he's done so far through 2 seasons in Austin. Every Tuesday, I have a chance to visit with our buddy Shea Dixon on 3 The Bengal Tiger. Our visit with Shea this week got bumped a little bit, just some scheduling stuff, but Shea did have a thought on Sydir Mitchell.
What Bo Davis did, and we've talked about this, Matt, and that works in the portal too. In recruiting, LSU signs, 40 linemen. Well, Bo Davis was recruiting all 4 of them when he was at Texas. Like we saw that with Jamar Cain. When you make a move to work the same position at a new school, and you're at a school like Texas, you're recruiting a lot of the same kids LSU is anyhow. So it was very easy to pick up where you left off. We've seen it with Chloe Raymond getting Jakeem Jackson, someone he got while he was at Florida. For me, this kind of points to that, too. I mean, this is a kid that Bo Davis recruited to Texas. He isn't from Texas. Took a red shirt this year when Bo Davis was gone, and now he's in the portal, and his very first visit is Bo Davis and LSU. So I almost put it into that category of, did he go there, play for Bo? Now he's not playing for Bo. He kind of wants to make a move as he begins to really start to develop and see more time on the field. And it would make sense if he links back up with him. So it'll be on campus, I think, today and tomorrow. So that will be certainly one to monitor because they do not have they have some very talented edge rushers, DN types. They don't have any DTs, and you said big. That is true. I think he's 330 probably is what he's listed at on the Texas website. So a definite nose tackle.
Nose tackle, a guy who, as I'm looking at it here, 6'6", 350 is what he's listed at, but a massive dude. In the portal, he's number 293 overall, the number 24 defensive tackle. So you're talking about a big body, and a lot of people have asked about defensive tackle, and I've continued to maintain, look, you're returning Jacobian Guillory off of injury. You've got guys like Ahmad Bro and Dom McKinley who made giant leaps in their true freshman seasons at LSU. It's disappointing to lose a guy like JVR Suggs in the portal, who was a really good interior pass rusher for you. And you heard Shea mention it there, 4 defensive tackles that Bo Davis signed in this class. I don't know that numbers or defensive tackle is a dire must, but I would put it as a need. Remember, wants, needs, musts are the level I would put defensive tackle at a need, and a 350-pound interior player that can be a run stuffer, a space eater, would certainly fill that need. Now, the other player, or the other side of the ball, I should say, the other position on that side of the ball, defense, that we've talked about is safety. Now, safety is an absolute must. And Mansour Delane is one guy we've talked a good bit about, talked to Shea about Delane, but also about where else LSU might look for safety help.
Yeah, and with Theim, they reached out, and I was told they had a Zoom call, and
forgive me. Let me reclassify real quick. So you heard him start there with Theim. Forgive me, I should have set that up. So Theim is Dylan Theim, the number one portal safety, picked Oregon. Also, Zechariah Poyser is another safety LSU targeted. He picked Miami, and then Tawfiq Bayard is a safety out of South Florida who LSU's targeting, had visit campus, but no word there yet. So what you're going to hear Shea talk about first here is Theim, and that's Dylan Theim, the number one safety in the portal who picked Oregon.
Yeah, and with Theim, they reached out, and I was told they had a Zoom call, and essentially it was, hey, look, we got the feel that this kid isn't coming down into the SEC, and yeah, I think he ended up at Oregon. So that one never went far, but boy, they wanted Poyser. I mean, they were one that was in from the second it happened, and the Jacksonville State product signed with Miami. So I believe he signed, at least he committed there. So that one appears done. Time to move on. I don't know if they make the move on Bayard yet because, one, Delaney, obviously, Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech, they truly feel after 30-plus starts, he's such a willing tackler. I think he's got 170 career tackles, something, a large number, that he could play nickel, he can play star, he could play safety, and I don't mean that in what people have gotten upset about. Hey, look, you keep putting these guys and bouncing them around into positions they don't play. He truly, I think they feel has some versatility, and that's what spring ball is. Let him come in and see what all he can do as you put together your new defensive backfield. I'll go back to what I said before about O-line, but way more so at safety. I think the people they ultimately land at safety, whether it's one more, two more, are not in the portal yet. Whether that's because they're on playoff teams, whether they're on other teams, that they just haven't entered yet. I've heard too much buzz around guys through, different circles, obviously, kids' agents, which, look, we're in that era right now, Matt, and you can just say it. Their NIL agents are often the same ones who are their agents, more often than not, when they're going to a new school and then have that NIL deal. So everyone talks, and there's buzz out there with all kinds of kids at that position, and a number of which LSU would be interested in. So my prediction right now, midway in, is that players who they maybe ultimately land, one or two, aren't in yet.
Let me, Shea said it point blank there at the end of that bite. Several of the players maybe at safety that LSU is going to be in on aren't even in the portal yet. I'll just say it very bluntly. I'll give you an example. So a year ago, Lance Hurd hadn't entered the portal, had some monetary demands, requests, call it what you will, for LSU. LSU wouldn't meet those. So Hurd had a representative on his behalf start shopping his name. Ultimately, Tennessee made a very lucrative offer. Hurd entered the portal, picked Tennessee. Tampering is illegal, meaning schools can't contact the player directly. Okay. Nothing wrong with a representative from a school or a member of a collective from talking to an agent or representative of the player to have those conversations. So what Shea is saying there is very plainly the same thing I've heard. There's several names I've heard connected with LSU and even further than that, LSU players that landed other places before they hit the portal because of that third-party interaction. So, yes, I completely agree with Shea. It's the same thing I've heard. There's safety names I've heard associated with LSU players that aren't in the portal. There are offensive linemen whose names I've heard who aren't in the portal. And maybe it will be one of those things that you wait till the playoffs done or a team loses a bowl game till they jump in the portal, and then we'll have a greater sense of those names and who exactly will be on the market. But I agree with Shea. LSU is going to add safety help. They are absolutely going to add help at offensive tackle. And I think some of those players aren't even in the portal yet. So stay tuned. Okay, it is Locked on LSU, your team every day. So now that the Tigers are moving through this portal cycle, what do the numbers look like, and how big of a role is Austin Thomas playing? We'll get to that as we continue Locked on LSU, your team every day. Yes, it is that time of year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with the college football playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern. Leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon. Then the Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Well, the Tigers won't be participating in this year's college football playoff, but the rate they're going in the portal so far next year is far from a long shot, maybe even a probability. Now, one thing we always talk about with Shea Dixon is numbers. Remember, the SEC is not going to move to 105 scholarship players this year. They're going to stay at 85 for the 2025 season. Tigers signed just under 25 players in the high school class, and right now they've already got 9 portal guys committed. So numbers-wise, what are we looking at? Here's Shea Dixon.
Yeah, 9 right now. You hope to get Braylon Moore, the Virginia Tech O-lineman. I wouldn't be surprised if it hit 15. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it could be around that, if not more, just by thinking in my head of a couple of safeties, maybe an O-lineman, maybe some, like I said, a DT who they have on campus right now. You start to list off positions, and all of a sudden you're at 15. Yeah. So I think that is a safe range, and that is much more aggressive than they were a year ago. Not just in numbers, they didn't even hit double digits last year, but again, every guy so far started where he was before, and that's 6 SEC players, 2 ACC players, and a Big Ten player. So they'll take that. These are guys who are going to come in and impact the team.
So 9 already. Braylon Moore would make 10. And if you just figure, if you try to add a defensive tackle, that'd be 11. A safety, that would be 12. And then maybe a couple of offensive linemen, 13, 14. Then maybe add an extra safety, an extra defensive tackle, get you to 15. So higher numbers than a season ago when LSU added just 9 players via the portal. It's a far cry, because I know part of the conversation with LSU fans has been, well, I thought LSU wanted to build through the high school ranks and supplement in the portal. Yes, you still want to do that. It's why you signed 25 guys, or I think it's 23, out of the high school ranks, now 15 out of the portal. It's a dramatic difference than a school like Ole Miss, who signed 30 guys out of the portal a season ago, where you're building your roster through the transfer portal. I still think they want to supplement a few more this year, but more importantly, guys of great impact. One other thing, and sometimes it's worth throwing people their bouquets, and Austin Thomas is worthy. You know, Austin Thomas was a guy at LSU under Les Miles who was the first GM in college football. And, you know, when Frank Wilson took the UTSA head coaching job, remember only 10 coaches can go recruit off campus. Well, when Frank Wilson took the UTSA job, they didn't promote another analyst or something like that to go off campus and recruit. They got the waiver for Austin Thomas to go recruit. So this is a guy who knows the recruiting game, knows how to build a roster, knows how to manage the roster, the money, all of that sort of stuff. And he's done a pretty incredible job. So Shea is smack dab in the middle of that world. Here's what he had to say about Austin Thomas.
I think for people who follow recruiting, no, but understand maybe. And what immediately comes to mind would be this comparison. Like Frank Wilson is to recruiting what Austin Thomas is to the new era of a GM. And we can remember when he became one of the first GMs, but now we really are in an era where it's more NFL like of NIL, managing the roster, rev shares on the way. Those are things that are right up his wheelhouse. I think that dealing with the collective, dealing with booster, everything that comes with just the organizational foundation and sort of direction you want to take everything, you can be in shambles if you don't have someone like that. Like, your head coach isn't doing all that. Your recruiting coordinator can't do all that. They don't have the time to do all that. That's why you bring in people like that in positions where they are responsible for the building or whatever it might be. But right now they're spending every waking hour trying to put together the roster, whether that's people leaving, staying, and everything that comes in between with the portal and signees and NIL. So, look, a really solid high school class, a very strong start to the portal. No mass. What did Brian Kelly say? 2 guys surprised him, maybe, that entered the portal, which is a massive number, considered it's well into the double digits of guys looking for playing time elsewhere. And I think he's got a kind of a fingerprint on all of that. So that's my opinion, but I think kind of, as I said, frank to recruiting is what Austin is to this new era of kind of being a GM.
Of course, Austin Thomas has done an exceptional job there, and it's very obvious. Look, Brian Kelly is coaching this team, getting ready for a bowl game. Austin Thomas is the one managing the roster, the needs, the money, all of it, and he's done a pretty exceptional job so far here in this portal cycle. Tigers land a top 10 freshman class. They've done incredible work so far in the portal. They're not done. You still have a February signing date. You still have a spring portal window as well to try to get this team ready to compete for a college football playoff spot and a national championship in 2025. Okay, before you get to 2025, the Tigers are going to play in a bowl game, the Texas Bowl. So which Tigers are going to be in that game? We've got a little bit of an update. We'll give you that next. Locked in LSU, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need in one place. Everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. I'm telling you, downloading Prize Picks couldn't have been easier. It's literally a couple of apps. They even send me a notification every day reminding me that it's time to lock in my picks. So do I pick more or less for any of those props that I'm interested in? Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pixmas. So check it out. Download the app today. use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's Prize Picks at Prize Picks. They love to say it. Prize Picks. Run your game. So we are inching closer to the Texas Bowl with LSU and Baylor. And we got some word that Braden Swinson is going to play in the bowl game for LSU. Just a little tidbit here on the Tigers that we're still waiting on decisions. Of course, we know Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Mason Taylor have all opted out of the bowl game declared for the draft. I've been told Kyron Lacey, who, if you noticed earlier this week, accepted an invite to play in the Senior Bowl. Kyron Lacey will not play in the bowl game as well. However, LSU on their social media released a video message from senior defensive end Braden Swinson, who announced he will play in the bowl game. Also told Savion Jones is practicing and expected to play in the bowl game. Same with Greg Penn and Miles Frazier on the offensive line. So you've got a lot of veterans available in this ball game. Now, you are losing guys to the portal, which is going to hurt your depth. But if I just look at the starters, Garrett Nussmeier is back. You're going to be down at least 2 offensive linemen, maybe 3. We'll see how they work it, but it's very likely Miles Frazier plays right guard and right tackle, and Tyree Adams plays left tackle. Bo Bordelon will be another starter on the offensive line. You'll figure that out. But no Lacey, Campbell, Jones, Taylor, Swinson, Savion Jones on your defensive line expected to return, as is Greg Penn, wearer of the number 18 jersey, and as we mentioned, Miles Frazier. A couple of veterans that I haven't gotten word on yet, but I'm still working on. Josh Williams, the 6th-year senior running back. Garrett Dellinger, who had the tightrope ankle procedure. Brian Kelly said last week that Dellinger would be physically cleared to play in the game. It's just a matter of if he's comfortable in playing after having not played in more than a month with the injury that they had. So we'll keep an eye on Garrett Dellinger. And then you could look at a veteran player like Zy Alexander. Does Zy intend to play, or is his career over and he's going to the pros? So we'll wait on those decisions as well. But for the most part, you're talking about a team that is a veteran team that has the majority of its players coming back to play in this bowl game, including a guy who's very likely going to be the best quarterback in college football, certainly the best quarterback in the SEC in 2024. One sort of head scratcher was CJ Daniels leaving LSU. The wide receiver who just finished up his 5th collegiate season is, in fact, going to take advantage of a 6th collegiate season, and he's transferring out of LSU to Miami. So CJ Daniels played 4 seasons at Liberty, but it's a situation where, obviously, the attention on Liberty waned after Hugh Freeze left. There was portal opportunities not only to play but to make money. Landed in Baton Rouge, and now with 1 year remaining, CJ Daniels is going to go play at Miami. I will tell you very candidly, we were talking earlier with Shea about how some of these handlers manage player interest, the portal, etc. Well, I was told, weeks ago, that this was a CJ Daniels decision that was likely going to come down to Auburn. Of course, he played for Hugh Freeze at Liberty, and also one of his great friends from Liberty is now on the team at Auburn. Those were supposed to be major cogs, feathers in the cap for CJ Daniels as they're trying to decide what they're going to do for their playoff ad. Well, obviously that's complicated with the basketball side with that many injuries and opt-outs. So in all, CJ Daniels, Braden Swinson, Savion Jones, Greg Penn, all in the portal defensively. Miles Frazier, Kyron Lacey, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Mason Taylor, all likely to enter the portal. And we're waiting on decisions from guys like Kyron Williams, Garrett Dellinger, and Zy Alexander. We'll see if they're ready for LSU to be a major contributor on their back. Okay, that'll do it for us here on today's episode of Locked on LSU. If you're new, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you here every single day. For Locked on LSU, your team every day.